struggle to cut and sew a mermaid dress, a fishtail dress, a bridal train dress, wedding dress, prom dress, dinner dress, any dress at all that's gonna have a tail, and you really want to know how to make a cut together tail, stay through to the end of this video. Hi guys, Naejon over here, and you are welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this beautiful mermaid dress. First of all, I'm going to show you how many yards you need for this project. Now, you need about 3 yards because this is me measuring the fabric and I have 3 whole yards to work with. Now, this is more than enough if you know how to manage your fabric. But of course, for a cut together tail, especially if you want it to have a much more flowy effect, then you may need to go for, say, 4, 5, or 6 yards thereabout. Now, the first thing you want to do is to fold your fabric in a very slanty manner, okay? What I mean by slanty is the upper side will be tiny, like the measurement of your waist, while the lower side will be a bit wider. This is a freehand method. There are other methods which you can do with pattern paper, but for this tutorial, I'm using a freehand method. Now, this is what I mean. You're going to fold your fabric in two, making it slant, like the upper part will be slim, and then the lower part will be a bit wider, as wide as 20 to 15 inches, depend on how wide you want your fish to be. So for your lower bodies, you need 4 major or basic measurements, and those will be your waist circumference, your hip circumference, your knee circumference, and then the full length of the whole dress. Now, that knee circumference is quite important because your fish effect starts from that knee point. And then the knee needs to be fitted, So you need the accurate measurement of your knee circumference so that fit you saw on my body earlier, you will have it on yours as well, or that of your client. Yeah, so these are the measurements we have. Waist is 28. Hip is 42. I don't even know why I don't add. Since how many years? 28, 42. Anyways, waist 28, hip 42. The knee circumference is 34, and then the full length of this dress is 66. Now, a quick one. If you want my original length is 63, then I added 3 inches, 1 for hemming and the other 2 for extra length. If you want your dress to flow, make sure you add about 2 to 3 inches to the length of your dress. Now we'll get a straight line and call it our waistline. Make sure that waistline is enough to size your measurement. So I've checked now and mine is enough because my waist is 28 plus the ½ inch allowance. That will be enough. So I'll cut out that uneven part so that I'll know what I'm working with. Now we have our waistline very neat. The next thing we want to do is to measure out the full length. Now the full length of this dress is 66. You can see how I removed the tape. That tape I removed is 15 inches from my tape. That 15 inches is for the upper bodies. So from my waist all the way to the hem of the dress should be 51. How did I get 51? I simply said 66, which is my full length, minus 15 for the upper bodies, and I got 51. Then that 51, you add 1 inch for joining and seaming allowance. So I have 52 on these lower bodies. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going ahead to mark my hip line. My hip line is 8 inches from my waistline, and that's what I'm just indicating. After that, I'll also indicate my knee line. How do you know your knee line? Put your tape rule from your waist to your knee. Whatever you have there, that's your knee line. You can also measure from your shoulder to your knee because that's what I did. And I simply removed the measurement for the upper bodies and then I got my knee line. My knee line is 35, and that's what I'm marking right there. So those are the 3 cardinal lines you need: your waistline, your hip line, and then the knee point, and as well your full length. Good. Now the next thing we'll do after getting these lines, we'll start applying our body measurement on the fabric. Now remember, after calculating, we had 52 as the length for the lower bodice. I'll go ahead and mark 52 round the area of the length. This is to avoid any part being weirdly longer than the other. So I'll go round, I'll mark 52 at the right edge, mark 52 at the center, mark 52 at the middle. I'll just go around, marking 52 like you see on the screen. Once you've done that, you can now see that you have your waistline, your hip line, your knee line, your full length. You now have those cardinal lines ready. Now you can now start applying your body measurement on the fabric. So my waist is 28. I'll divide 28 by 4, which is 7. Then I'll add half-inch allowance. So I've marked 7.5. Now to my hip is 42. I'll divide 42 by 4, that's 10.5, plus half-inch, that's 11. I've marked 11. The knee circumference is 34. 34 by 4 is 8.5. 8.5 plus half-inch, that's 9 inches, and I've marked 9 inches. I'll simply connect from that knee line to the extreme edge of the dress, and I'll also connect it all the way from the waist to the hip, to the knee, and then to the full length. So now I'll connect all the dots like I explained earlier, and then we'll cut out the unnecessary part. You can see that we have our front ready. We're going to be using this front to cut the back. It is so easy, okay? So I'll pin up that center so that it doesn't shift while we are cutting out. So get your pins and pin up the center, then you cut out. Cut out very neatly, and when you're done cutting out, this is what you should have. It must look like what you see on the screen. So our front is ready, and we're going to use this front to cut the back. Now fold your fabric, whatever you have left, fold it into two in a very slanty manner. Again, bring your front piece and place directly on the back, like you see me do on the screen. Now, from that your center of your front piece, which you pinned up, make sure you leave extra space, because that's where we'll be putting the cut together tail. The same way you leave your zipper allowance, yes, give extra allowance. I think much more allowance, about 15 or 10 inches extra from that your center. Then you get your waistline the same way you did for the front. Once you get your waistline, cut it out. Now you start marking the zipper allowance. The zipper allowance will run through from the waist to the knee line. Remember, I told you your fish effect will start from that knee line. So you get your zipper allowance. I'm using 1 inch zipper allowance for this dress. So I'll mark 1 inch from my waist to the knee. From my waist to the knee line. Now to create the tail, you can determine how long you want your tail to be. And again, it depends on how much fabric you have. So for this, my tail, I'll just be increasing by 8 inches. So already my front is 66. So 66 plus 8, that's what I have there. And then I'll connect it in such a way that it would get to the hem of that front piece. You can see what I just did, right? Yes, that's how to get your tail. Again, I extended my tail from that my front piece. I added extra 8 inch for the tail. Then I connected all the way to the front side, and that's what I have. Now from this place, I'll also connect to that my knee point where I stopped for my zipper allowance. I'll connect to that point. Now you can see the fish-like effect that our tail is having. I'll simply cut out. This is the simple trick you need to know about cutting a cut together tail. Now if you want your tail to be very massive, you can increase it to 10, 15 inches, as much as you want. Of course, now we're going to cut out, yes, because we have our front and our back piece ready. Let me know if you find this tutorial very easy in the comment section, okay? Now, by the time you're done, you'll be surprised at the magic you have created. Make sure your fish is looking as full as mine. Now, let's get to the sewing machine. For sewing, we're starting with the back panel, and the first thing we want to do is to stitch the center of the back together. Before we stitch, we're going to pin up. After pinning up, then we can take it to the sewing Please do ensure that while you're pinning up at exactly that 1 inch allowance you added. If your allowance for the zipper was 2 inches, pin up on that 2 inches. If your allowance was ½ inch, pin up on that ½ inch. I hope that's clear. Now you can take this to a sewing machine and stitch it down. So you guys, I'm done stitching, and obviously I left about 9 inches where the zipper will be fixed. That's that place you're seeing pin. Yeah, that's where the zipper will be fixed. Now the next thing I'll do is to join the front piece and the back piece together using the sewing machine, and I'll be using 1 inch allowance to shape through. Why am I using 1 inch allowance even though I added just ½ inch allowance? I would have stitched with ½ inch allowance because that's the allowance I added, but this fabric is quite stretchy, so if you want it to give you that bodycon fit, you may have to take out extra half or even extra 1. So I'm done shaping both sides with 1 inch allowance, and this is how it is. So ladies and gentlemen, our down part is ready. See how beautiful it is. So I didn't want this video to be so long. My next video is coming up very soon. Like before you blink, it's already up on my channel. My next video will be showing how to create the up of this dress. That's if you're interested, you'll be seeing this video on my next upload. Okay, so and in that video I'll stitch the upper bodice to the lower bodice, and we'll have a proper dress. Okay, I hope you learned something from this video, and if you did, give this video a thumbs up, make a comment on my comment section, and subscribe to this channel. I love you guys. Till my next video. Bye.